Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high, cause St. Louis is ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold up, we just saying hi. Five, somebody rise up. Weekdays, catch us live, somebody. Let's go.
Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Pascal Show. Hope you guys are all doing well out there. I hope this show finds you in good spirits as well. There's some very interesting information that has just recently dropped, and I wanted to hop on and give you guys a quick breakdown because I do have another show coming up here in just a few hours. I got Perez Hilton live with me tonight at 7 p.m., but this just broke about an hour or so ago, and I was like, you know what? I have got to come on here and talk to you guys about this because this is big news, especially the information that we have talked about before. Now it's echoing again. This is echoing the same thing that we talked about before with Richard Allen, but in a different way. So we have to talk about this. This is very, very interesting in my personal opinion. So before we go into everything, because I'm going to have to jump into this pretty quick because I need a little bit more time before my interview, before my discussion with Perez Hilton here in a couple hours. But I did want to break you guys this news. So please do me a favor. Show some love. Hit that like button down below. That would be greatly, greatly appreciated. Okay. This is kind of breaking news. I mean, it's been out for about 2 hours or so. I was wrong. About 2 hours it's been circulating. Okay. And like I said, I'm going to give you basically the nuts and bolts of the most important stuff, at least the things that stuck out to me that are kind of important. Okay. And in one main document, I think is very important to check out. So hit that like button down below. Send it past 300 likes as you start to file in. That would really, really mean a lot. And if you haven't done this yet, please, again, please hit that subscribe button. Join my family membership. It's the join button down below. Or you can go and support me by joining my Patreon, patreon.com/The Pascal Show. Okay, that would be greatly, greatly appreciated if you're interested in supporting the channel in any way you can. All right, guys, we got some stuff we got to get into, and we don't have a whole lot of time to get into it, so let's get into it. Now, let me just say this really quick. To me, this is pretty big information in my personal opinion, okay? There is now all the documents. Documents have been unsealed that have everything to do with Richard Allen and his possible connection to the Delphi tragedy. All right. Now, we got to get into some things. We're going to get into it right away because why sit and wait? Why dilly-dally again? Can't be on for a very long time, but we're going to be here for a short one, an informative time. Because there's information in here that I found to be very interesting. And if you guys are interested in me doing more going through more of the documents, because it's hundreds of pages upon pages upon pages upon pages of documentation, okay? That unfortunately I can't go through right now. Like I said, I have a prior engagement in a couple of hours, but I saw this, caught my eye, wanted to give this to you guys. So as you guys can see right over here, okay? As you guys can see right here, it's saying Delphi suspect, Richard Allen, documents unsealed and posted online. So let's just look at this article really quick before we hop into the documents, okay? Or at least into the one main document that sparked my interest, that caught my eye, and I feel would make us interested in checking out this more, okay? Let's look into this. So hundreds of pages, okay, of sealed filings in the Delphi tragedy suspect's case, okay, in Richard Allen's case, were published online today. So the filings from both the state and defense attorneys were sealed to comply with the court order dated December 2nd, 2022, which it prohibits public comment, commonly referred to as the gag order. Special Judge Frances Gull wrote in her Wednesday order. The filings can be found, and of course, there's a link so you can go see all the documentation. And trust me, there is a lot, and you gotta skim through or look through all of it because it's pretty interesting. Okay. Gull signed an order Wednesday indicating she consulted with the attorneys for the case. Counsel agree with the court that the public interest is best served by transparency, but that certain pleadings should remain sealed, Gull wrote in her Wednesday order. Okay. The unedited version of the probable cause affidavit, for example, remains sealed, as does the list of witnesses that contain the names of juveniles. Defense ex parte motions remain sealed as well. To ease the burden to the Carroll County clerk's staff, the Allen County officials were used to upload the documents to the internet. Okay. Now, I'm gonna stop right there. Okay, because there's things in here that I think will be very interesting to hear from the documents themselves or from a document themselves. And you obviously can see the title above me or below me, wherever you're watching this show right here. There is some information that is very interesting. And to me, from what they have, from the filings, from the documents, it does show like they could very well have their man. Now, again, this is all alleged. This is all just documentation, but the documents say something very interesting, which we are going to get into in just a minute. I do want to show you guys this other title because it's just another kind of a brief breakdown really quick, but it says right here, okay, of course, the person who did this monster who did this, these teens their lives were taken with a sharp object, okay? And suspect R.A. or Richard Allen admitted to taking the life of them or taking their lives, all right, at least 5 times in a prison phone while he was talking to his wife and mother. And this is what the prosecution is claiming right now as we speak. Again, this is all on the documentation, so we will be looking at it. And again, they did, like I said, it says right here, and I'm going to blow this up so you guys can see this as well. It says down below here, all right, that Judge Gull has released 118 documents in the case, which just only 19 remain sealed. Now, I'm wondering what else, aside from the, unredacted probable cause affidavit, I'm wondering what else is being sealed or held off from public viewing, which is very interesting. Okay. Now, we already know that, Richard Allen's appearance, not only just his behavior, but his appearance has dramatically changed since he was even locked up. Okay. But they're claiming, prosecutors are saying that his behavior has drastically changed since his admission on April 3rd. Okay, guys. Now, the thing is, there's my mouse. Now, the thing is that I feel like everybody else, we want to know the full truth here, or we want to know what exactly they have as far as documents and what's being said here. So I wanted to give this to you guys and share this with y'all because, like I said, this is very, very interesting information. And I'm still shocked at the information that's being said here as well. And we're going to skip through all this stuff here. Okay. But they say, while working with the Delphi investigation, I'll show it to you guys here too. Let me just blow this up a little bit bigger. Okay, so that you guys can see this. And the thing is that this is crazy. All right. So ride with me because it's a lot to say in a very short amount of time. And it's 8 pages of this. So just ride with me. We're gonna We're going to go through it. Okay. So let's get into this. Okay. So while working with the Delphi investigation, Carroll County Sheriff's Department Detective Tony Liggett developed information that RA was involved with the unalivings of victim 1 and victim 2. The investigation shows the following. This is where it gets very interesting. Saddle up, guys. This is going to be an interesting ride. So, that on February 14th, 2017, victim 1 and 2 were found gone. And I got to use these code words, guys. I'm sorry. But was found gone in the woods approximately 0.2 miles northeast of Monon High Bridge in Carroll County. The bodies were located on the north side of Deer Creek. At the time, the Monon High Bridge Trail was approximately 1 mile, or a 1 mile gravel trail terminating at the Monon High Bridge. So this high bridge is an abandoned railroad trestle, approximately a quarter mile long, spanning the Deer Creek and Deer Creek Valley on the southeast end of the trail. Approximately 0.7 miles of the northeast of the trail, from the northwestern edge of the High Bridge, Monon High Bridge, is the Freedom Bridge, which is a pedestrian bridge spanning State Road 25. Approximately 350 feet west of Freedom Bridge was a former railroad overpass, Old State Road 25, which is also known as the County Road 300 North. The trail terminates just west of the former railroad overpass. The majority of the trail is in a wooded area on a steep embankment on the south side of the trail. The entirety of the trail and the location of the girls' remains were and are located in Carroll County, Indiana. Through interviews, reviews of electronic records, and review of video at the Hosier Harvest Store, investigators believe victim 1 and victim 2 were dropped off across from the Mears farm at 1:49 p.m. on February 13th, 2017 by Kelsey German. The Mears farm is located on the north side of County Road 300 North, near an entrance to the trails. A video from victim's 2 phone, all right, shows that at 2:13 p.m., victim 1 and victim 2 encountered a male subject on the southeast portion of the Monon Bridge. The male ordered the guys down the hill. No witnesses saw them after this time. No ongoing communications were found on victim's 2 phone at this time. Their bodies were discovered on February 14th, 2017. The video recovered from victim 2's phone shows victim 1 walking southeast on Monon High Bridge while a male subject wearing a dark jacket and jeans walks behind her. As the male subject approaches victim 1 and 2, one of the victims mentions gun. Near the end of the video, a male is seen and heard telling the guys down the hill. The girls then begin to proceed down the hill, and the video ends. A still photograph taken from the video and the guys down the hill audio was subsequently released to the public to assist investigators in identifying the male. Victims 1 and 2, their demise was ruled as homicides. Clothes were found in the Deer Creek belonging to both victims, south of where their remains were located. There was also a .40 caliber unspent round less than 2 feet away from victim two's body, between victim one and victim two's body. Okay. The round was unspent and had extraction marks on it. Interviews were conducted with 3 juveniles, RV, BW, and AS. They advised they were on the Monon. They advised that they were on the Monon High Bridge Trail on February 13th, 2017. They advised that they were walking on the trail towards Freedom Bridge to go home when they encountered a male walking from Freedom Bridge toward the High Bridge. AS described the male as kind of creepy, quote unquote, and advised he was wearing like blue jeans, a really light blue jacket, and his hair was gray, maybe a little brown, and he did not really show his face. She advised the jacket was a duck canvas type jacket. RV advised she said hi to the male, but he just glared at them. She recalled him being in all black and had something covering his mouth. She described him as not very tall, but with a bigger build. Sorry. She said he was not bigger than 5'10". RV advised he was wearing a black hoodie, black jeans, and black boots. She stated he had his hands in his pockets. BW showed investigators photographs she took on her phone while she was on the trail that day. The photographs included a photo of the Monon High Bridge taken at 12:43 p.m. and another one taken at 1:26 p.m. of the bench east of the Freedom Bridge. BW advised after she took the photo of the bench, they started walking back towards Freedom Bridge. She advised that was when they encountered the man who matched the description of the photograph taken from victims to video. BW described the man she encountered on the trail as wearing a blue or black windbreaker jacket. She advised the jacket had a collar and he had his hood up from the clothing underneath his jacket. She advised he was wearing baggy jeans and was taller than her. She advised her head came up to approximately his shoulder. She also said that RV said hi to the man and that he said nothing back. She stated he was walking with a purpose, like he knew where he was going. She stated that he had his hands in his pockets and kept his head down. She also said she did not get a good look at his face, but believed him to be a white male. The girls also said after encountering the male, they continued their walk across Freedom Bridge and the old railroad bridge over State Road 25. Investigators spoke with Betsy Blair, who advised she was on the trails on February 13th, 2017. Video from the Harvest Store captured the Hoosier Harvest Store captured Betsy's vehicle traveling eastbound at 1:46 p.m. towards the entrance across from the Mears farm. Betsy advised she saw 4 juvenile females walking on the bridge over Old State Road 25 as she was driving underneath on her way to park. Betsy also said there were no other cars parked across from the Mears farm when she parked. She also said she walked to the Monon High Bridge and observed a male matching the one from victim two's video. She described the male she saw as a white male wearing blue jeans and a blue jean jacket. She advised, or she also said, they say advised a lot. She also said he was standing on his, he was standing on the first platform of the Monon High Bridge, approximately 50 feet from her. She said she turned around at the bridge and continued her walk. She said approximately halfway between the bridge and the parking area across from Mears Farm, she passed two girls walking towards Monon High Bridge. She said she believed the girls to be victim one and victim two. Video from the store shows at 1:49 p.m. a white car matching Kelsey German's vehicle traveling away from the entrance across from Mears Farm. Betsy advised or said she finished her walk and saw no other adults other than the male on the bridge. Her vehicle is seen on the Hoosier Harvest Store video at 2:14 p.m., leaving westbound from the trails. Betsy said when she was leaving, she noted a vehicle was parked in an odd manner at the Child Protective Services building. She said it was not odd for vehicles to be parked there, but she noticed it was odd because of the manner it was parked, backed in near the building. Investigators received a tip from Terry Wilson in which he stated he was on the way to Delphi on State Road 25 around 2:10 p.m. on February 13th, 2017. He observed a purple PT Cruiser or a small SUV type vehicle parked on the south side of the old CPS building. He stated it appeared as though it was backed in as to conceal the license plate of the vehicle. Betsy and Terry both drew diagrams of where they saw the vehicle parked, and their diagrams generally matched as to the area the vehicle was parked and the manner in which it was parked. Wesley McWhirter, something like that, advised or said he remembered seeing a small, dark-colored car parked at the old CPS building. He described it as probably or possibly being a quote-unquote smart car. He also said his vehicle is seen leaving at 2:28 p.m. On this Harvest Store vehicle or Harvest Store video. So investigators spoke with Carbo, I think it's that, Sarah Carbo, who stated that she was traveling east on 300 North on February 13th, 2022. And observed, and that's a typo. That's got to be a typo. So I think they mean 2017, and observed a male subject walking west on the north side of 300 North away from Monon High Bridge. She advised that the male suspect was wearing a blue colored jacket and blue jeans and was muddy and bloody. Interesting. She further stated that it appeared he had gotten into a fight. Investigators were able to determine from watching the video from the Hoosier Harvest Store that Sarah Carbo was traveling on CR 300 North at approximately 3:57 p.m. Through interviews, electronic data, photographs, and video from the Hoosier Harvest Store, investigators determined that there were other people on the trail that day after 2:13 p.m. Those people were interviewed, and none of those individuals encountered a male suspect referenced above, witnessed by the juvenile girls, Betsy Blair, or Sarah Carbo. Further, none of those individuals witnessed victim 1 and 2. Investigators reviewing prior tips encountered a tip narrative from an officer who interviewed Richard M. Allen in 2017. That narrative stated, Mr. Allen was on the trail between, well, 1:30 and 4:30 p.m., okay? He parked at the Old Farm Bureau building and walked to the new Freedom Bridge. While at the Freedom Bridge, he saw 3 females. He noted one was taller and had brown or black hair. He did not remember description, nor did he speak with them. He walked from the Freedom Bridge to the High Bridge. He did not see anybody, although he stated he was watching a stock ticker on his phone as he walked. He stated there were vehicles parked at the High Bridge trailhead. However, he did not pay attention to them. He did not take any photos or video. His cell phone did not list an IMEI. I don't know what that is. I'm sorry. And that's one thing I'm still wondering what that is. But did have the following, and there's just a bunch of numbers. Potential follow-up information. Who were the 3 girls walking in the area of Freedom Bridge? The investigators believe Mr. Allen was referring to the former Child Protective Services building, as there was not a Farm Bureau building in the area, nor had there ever been. Investigators believe the females he saw included RV, BW, and AS due to the time they were leaving the trail, the time he reported getting to the trail, and the descriptions the 3 girls gave. The investigators discovered Richard Allen owned 2 vehicles in 2017, a 2016 black Ford Focus and a 2006 gray Ford 500. Investigators observed a vehicle that resembled Allen's 2016 Ford Focus on the Hoosier Harvestor video at 1:27 p.m. traveling westbound on CR 300 North in front of the Hoosier Harvestor, which coincided with his statement that he arrived around 1:30 at the trail. Investigators note witnesses describe the vehicle parked at the former Child Protective Services building as a PT Cruiser, small SUV, or a smart car. Investigators believe those descriptions are similar in nature to his actual 2016 Ford Focus. Interesting. Actually, let me look that up. Let's see what is it? They said a PT Cruiser. Let's see. PT Cruiser. Curious what they look like. And then, so I'm going to pull these up, guys, really quick. And then, what is it, 2016 Ford Focus? I'm wondering how. They look nothing alike. They look nothing alike. Sorry for the pause, but I just wanted to pull this up. And IMEI is International Mobile Equipment Number. Thank you so much for that. Oh, it's the serial number for his. It's the serial number of the cell phone. So when they say his cell phone didn't list a serial number, but it did have the following numbers, and those were the numbers. Interesting. Very, very interesting. But let me show you guys what I'm talking about. This, I just Googled it really quick. I mean, it's nothing. This isn't anything fancy. All right. So I just Googled these things real fast. This is what they're saying. This is what they're saying that they saw. Maybe a PT Cruiser. Okay. But they said a purple PT Cruiser. Now, this is one of them. Okay. Then a Ford Focus, which look like these. It's kind of weird, right? It's an odd, it's odd, wouldn't you think? that they're completely off. To me, they don't look like the same. They don't look like the same cars. But then again, not everybody knows their cars, right? Not everybody knows cars. They might go, oh yeah, it looked like that. So, it is a tough one too. Kina just said there is a hatchback version of the Focus. Oh, there is? That's very interesting. Hold on, let me pull that up really quick. Come on. Hatchback. Spladow. Let's see. But see, I don't know. That's still, look at this. This is the 2016 hatchback. Okay. Ford Focus hatchback. Okay. You see this. Like, for example, that one. Okay. Or this one, the bright blue one over here in the top left corner. Okay. And then you look at PT Cruiser. Yeah, I'm not a fan of PT Cruisers either. But at the same time, I mean, unless you really know your cars, I guess you could make that mistake. I guess you could. I guess. But then at the same time, I'm going back to the thing here, because this is important. Real quick. This says he owned in 2017 a black Ford Focus, 2016 Ford Focus, and a 2006 gray Ford 500. Now, purple is purple. Black is black. Let me just make that abundantly clear. So that's interesting that the selective memory, right, is to have like, okay, I remember a PT Cruiser and it was purple. Or they also said it could have been a small SUV, which I could see maybe it being, if it's a hatchback, I could see the small SUV type thing. And then the smart car idea could make sense. But at the same time, it's very broad. Now, I'm not sitting here saying that they're lying, but I'm just saying maybe their memory is a little off. And maybe they just don't know makes of cars that well. I mean, not everybody knows their cars. You feel me? They just know, oh, okay, they know the logos, right? They know the brands of cars, but they don't know like, oh, that's exactly what a Ford Focus looks like, right? That could be it too, but I don't know. Like I said, very, very interesting information nonetheless. Okay, so let's continue on. All right. So because they said, because the investigators believe those descriptions are similar in nature to the 2016 Ford Focus. Now I wish I could see his actual Ford Focus, right? But let's continue. On October 13th, 2022, so now we're a little bit more up to date, okay? Richard Allen was investigated or interviewed again by investigators. He advised, or he said, he was on the trail on February 13th, 2017. He stated he saw the juvenile girls on the trails east of the Freedom Bridge. Okay. Okay. This is the part that gets very, very, very interesting. So I'm going to read this a little bit slower than usual. All right. So he advised that he was on the trails on February 13th, 2017. He stated he saw juvenile girls on the trails east of the Freedom Bridge and that he went onto the Monon High Bridge. Richard Allen further stated he went out onto the Monon High Bridge to watch the fish. Later in his statement, he said he walked out to the first platform on the bridge. He stated he then walked back, sat on a bench on the trail, and then left. He stated he parked his car on the side of an old building. He told investigators that he was wearing blue jeans, a blue or black Carhartt jacket with a hood. Let me say that again, guys. One, his narrative has changed. At first, he was looking at a stock app, walking along and just looking at an app, not paying attention to nobody, right? Now he's saying he went out there, he walked out onto the ledge, to the platform. He went to look at fish. He walked out on the first bridge or platform on first platform on the bridge. Then he walked back. He sat down on a bench, chilled out, and then he later left. But what's funny is the clothing that he's wearing. He says he was wearing blue jeans, a blue or black jacket with a hood. And you know the infamous video, and in fact, if I can Google it, just the image alone. Let me just pull this up for you guys because I think this is kind of importante. I think that's how you say it, right? Espanole. But real talk, that's very interesting. So I'm going to pull this up here really quick so we can see this as a family as well. Bladao. So you're telling me, what did I just read? What did I just read? Interesting. Just saying, he just said, I was wearing blue jeans, a black or blue jacket with a hoodie. Now, it looks like he's wearing like a derby hat or something like he's in the Newsies or something like that. But there seems to be a little bit of something puffing up in the back. So that could very well be exactly, that could be him. Like I said, that could be our mother lover right there. That could be the suspect. And that could be who he's describing right there. Himself. Okay. Yes. Kina, he just identified himself. But there's more. Oh, but there's more. Let's continue. Okay. So he said he was wearing blue jeans, a blue or black Carhartt jacket with a hood. Okay. He advised he may have been wearing some type of head covering as well. Maybe a derby hat. Moving on, he further claimed he saw no one else except for the juvenile girls he saw east of the Freedom Bridge. He told investigators that he owns firearms and they are at his home. Okay, I'm just going to let that sink in. Remember the bullet that they found. Beside these young girls' bodies. Yeah, little Patty. He done busted himself. Straight up. Okay? He really did say, oh yeah, remember, I don't mean to keep like beating a dead horse here. Okay? But he said this. He said, okay, blah, blah, blah. Okay, they discovered he owned those vehicles. Okay, so they said, okay, blah, 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 blah. Investigators believe, blah, blah, blah. Investigators, okay, discovered 2. So in his investigation, when he was interviewed before, he said he was there between 1:30 and 4:30 p.m. He parked this is the first interview. This is when they first talked to him, to Richard Allen, okay? He parked his car at the Farm Bureau building, at the old Farm Bureau building, and walked to the new Freedom Bridge. While at the Freedom Bridge, he saw 3 females. He noted one was taller and had brown or black hair. He did not remember the description, nor did he speak to them. He walked from the Freedom Bridge to High Bridge. He did not see anybody, as he says, although he stated he was watching a stock ticker on his phone as he walked. He stated there were vehicles parked at the High Bridge trailhead. However, did not pay any attention to them. And he didn't take any photos or video. Then when they interviewed him again later on in October, he said something completely different. Homeboy just told on himself, y'all. Him guilty. I mean, allegedly. Let me just be careful here. But isn't that a little bit odd? I'll just say it's a bit odd. Okay? It's a bit odd. It gets weirder. Trust me. So let's continue. He did say that later on, he goes, oh, yeah, I own firearms too. And I got a bunch of them at home. Okay. Richard Allen's wife, Kathy, also spoke to investigators. She confirmed that Richard did have guns and knives at the residence. Now, remember, these two young girls were attacked by a sharp object, if you get what I'm saying. He has guns and knives. Now, I know a lot of people can sit here and say, hey, a lot of people have guns and knives, bruh. Yeah, I get that. I get that fully. But all I'm saying is with everything else, and then you got this information where he's like, yeah, I own a bunch of firearms. And yeah, I was wearing these jeans and this blue or black jacket with a hoodie, and I might have been wearing a hat. He just described himself. He just described himself. And mind you, I just showed you that photo of the alleged man. Hold on, let me show that to you guys again, one more again. Okay, you see this, and this is straight up describing his doggone self. Okay, now remember, this is when he looked like this. Okay, this is when he wasn't skipping his fourth meal. Okay, he was eating good. So remember that before he turned into this, which is a whole other Charles Dickens story in itself. Okay. So when he described himself, don't put this in your brain and then think about this guy right here and go, oh no, it can't be him because, he's skinny. No, trust me. All right. Trust and believe. All right. This man was definitely eating good in the neighborhood. Okay? So put that in your pipe and smoke on it for a second. Just for a second. Okay? Man was eating good before he got arrested and started looking like this. And we will circle back and go back to this conversation here in a little bit. Okay? Wow. So I just pulled this up that many times? Dang. Okay. Now, let's continue. So the wife even said, yes, he got guns, he got knives. Okay, so moving on. She also stated that Richard still owns a blue Carhartt jacket. And this is recent, by the way. On October 13th, 2022, investigators executed a search warrant of Richard Allen's residence at this place, okay, in Indiana. Among other items, officers located jackets, boots, knives, and firearms, including a Sig Sauer, hopefully I'm saying that right, model P226 40 caliber pistol with the serial number U625627. Between October 14th, 2022 and October 19th, 2022, the Indiana State Police Laboratory performed analysis on Allen's Sig Sauer model P226. The laboratory performed a physical examination and classification of the firearm, function test, barrel and overall length measurement, test firing, ammunition component characterization, microscopic comparison, and NIBIN, which I'm nibbin. I don't know what nibbin is. So hopefully you guys know. Somebody out there, tell me what nibbin is. Okay. The laboratory determined The unspent round located within 2 feet of the victim's victim two's body had been cycled through Richard Allen's gun. The laboratory remarked, an identification opinion is reached when the evidence exhibits an agreement of class characteristics and a sufficient agreement of individual marks. Sufficient agreement is related to the significant duplication of random striated impressed marks as evidenced by the correspondence of a pattern or combination of patterns of surface contours. The interpretation of identification is subjective in nature and based on relevant scientific research and the reporting examiner's training and experience. So apparently, and this is the part that I'm still trying to understand, and like I said, I'm not a cop, I am not a gun guy or anything like that, but I'm wondering if they're basically trying to say that every single time that a bullet is expelled, okay, well, they said that this round was actually cycled through, okay, so I'm assuming it was in the gun, but then it was expelled or taken out of the gun, either by the gun itself or I don't know. Okay. I got nibbing. I'm going to talk to you, say that really quick. Thank you guys so much for that. Okay. But it does make you wonder that maybe the gun itself was constantly maybe scratching or marking up, right? Marking up the actual rounds before they're expelled. Maybe. I don't know. But from what I'm understanding in here, because like I said, I'm not a forensic guy, I'm not a ballistics expert or anything of that sort. It does seem like maybe there was markings that were made by the actual gun before said bullet is expelled. But let me look at this really quick. Jackie, thank you so much. Nibin, National Integrated Ballistic Information Network. Thank you so much. Same thing with Karen. Thank you so much. Thank you, Kina. Thank you, everybody. I really do appreciate it. See, yeah. So follow the grain. Exactly. So it must have been chambered and then it was ejected, right? Why he ejected that one bullet, I don't know. But it does seem a bit odd. But moving on, they're saying that there were individual marks on these bullets, and only his gun could have made those type of marks. Those marks are found on that same round that were found near the remains of those two young girls, and that could very well connect him to the situation. But I also want to point out the clothing that he was wearing in that video, the infamous video of everybody. I mean, this has launched 1,000 podcasts, okay? Thousands of podcasts of people wondering who is this? How did this happen? So on and so forth. And now because of a round that was left up on the side, we could very well have our guy, especially him saying all these things that he's been saying, admitting to wearing the clothing, admitting to owning these types of guns, etc. But let's continue on. Okay. Investigators then ran the firearm and found that the firearm was purchased by Richard Allen in 2001. R.A. voluntarily came to the Indiana State Police post on October 26, 2022. He spoke with investigators and stated that he never allowed anyone to use or borrow his gun. When asked about the unspent bullet, he did not have an explanation of why the bullet was found between the bodies of victim 1 and victim 2. He again admitted that he was on the trail, but denied knowing victim 1 or victim 2. And denied any involvement in their unalivings. Carroll County Sheriff's Department Detective Tony Liggett has been part of the investigation since it started in 2017. He's had an opportunity to review and examine evidence gathered in this investigation. Detective Liggett, along with other investigators, believe the evidence gathered shows that Richard Allen is the male subject seen on the video from victim 2's phone, who forced these victims down the hill. Further, that the victims were forced down the hill by Richard Allen and led to the location where they were later unalived. Through the statements and photos of the juvenile females and the statement of Betsy Blair, RV, BW, and AS were at the southeast edge of the trail at 12:43 p.m. east of Freedom Bridge at 1:26 p.m. and walked across the former railroad overpass over Old State Road 25 after 1:26 p.m. and before 1:46 p.m. They walked the entirety of the trail and observed only one person, an adult male. Betsy Blair's vehicle is seen on the Hoosier Harvest Store video at 1:46 p.m. and leaving at 2:14 p.m. And she stated she only saw one adult male. RV, BW, AS, and Betsy Blair described the male in similar manners, wearing similar clothing, leading investigators to believe all four saw the same male individual. Investigators believe the male observed by Betsy Blair, RV, BW, and AS is the same male depicted in the video from victim 2's phone due to the description of the male by the four females matching the male in the video. Furthermore, victim 2's video was taken at 2:13 p.m. and Betsy Blair saw only one male while she was on the trail from approximately 1:46 p.m. to 2:14 p.m. Investigators believe Richard Allen was the male seen by Betsy Blair, RV, BW, and AS, and the male seen in victim 2's video. Richard Allen told investigators he was on the trail from 1:30 to 3:30 that day. Video from Hoosier Harvest Store shows a vehicle that matches the description of Richard Allen's vehicle passing at 1:27 p.m. toward the former CPS building. The clothing he told the investigators he was wearing matched the clothing of the male in victim 2's video and the clothing description provided by Betsy, RV, BW, and AS. A vehicle matching the description of his 2016 Ford Focus is seen at or around 2:10 p.m., 2:14 p.m., and 2:28 p.m. at the former CPS building. Oh, man. Through his own admissions, Richard Allen walked the trails and eventually hiked to the Monon High Bridge and walked out onto the Monon High Bridge. A male suspect matching Richard Allen's description was not seen on the trail after 2:13 p.m. Investigators identified other individuals on the trails or CR 300 North between 2:30 and 4:11 p.m. None of those individuals saw a male suspect matching the description of Richard Allen on the trail. So they're saying like he said he was out there, but no one said that they saw him then during that particular time. So furthermore, Richard Allen stated that he only saw 3 girls on the trail who investigators believe to be the initials I've been stating 15,000 times in a row. Investigators believe Richard Allen was not seen on the trail after 2:13 p.m. because he was in the woods with victim 1 and victim 2. He was with those 2 young girls, like I was just saying. They say that they didn't see anybody. He's saying he was out there, but he was out there doing unthinkable things at that time. That's why he disappeared. Okay? That's why he was not to be seen. An unspent 40 caliber round between the bodies of victim 1 and victim 2 was forensically determined to have been cycled through Richard Allen's pistol. Okay. Now, this gun was found at Richard Allen's residence, and he admitted to owning it. Investigators were, and he also said that he did not share. He did not give out his gun or anything, and I'm sure they're going to repeat that here in just a minute. But he also admitted to not lending it out to anybody. Okay. So he also admitted to owning it. Investigators were able to determine that he had owned it since 2001. Richard stated he had not been on that property where the unspent round was, that he did not know the property owner, and that he had no explanation as to why a round cycled through his firearm would be at that location. Furthermore, he stated that he never allowed anyone to use it or borrow his 6-hour model to P226. Investigators believe that after the victims were unalived, Richard returned to his vehicle by walking down CR 300 North. Investigators believe he was seen by Sarah Carbo walking back to his vehicle on CR 300 North with clothes that were muddy and bloody. This is when it gets interesting. Or it's been getting interesting, but let's continue. Tony Liggett, okay, along with investigators, believe the statements made by the witnesses because the statements, So Tony Liggett, along with the investigators, believe the statements made by witnesses. They believe this is weird, but they believe the statements made by witnesses because the statements corroborate the timeline of the demise of these two girls, as well as coincide with the admissions made by Richard Allen. Further, the accounts replayed by Betsy, RV, BW, and AS are similar in nature, and timestamps on photographs taken by BW correspond to the times the juvenile females said they were on the trail and saw the male individual. Investigators believe Richard Allen committed this taking, okay, which resulted in the unaliving of victim 1 and victim 2. From their prior conclusions, investigators believe Richard Allen was the male depicted in victim 2's video saying, "Guys down the hill." They believe Richard Allen was carrying his pistol on that day due to the cycled round matching the firearm that was located within feet of victim 2's body. They further believe he was carrying the 6-hour model, or the 6-hour, from the audio from victim 2's video, in which investigators believe they hear the sound of a gun being cycled and one of the girls mentioning a gun. So this is what's the part that I found very interesting. So he said, allegedly, he's being alleged of saying, "Hey, guys down the hill." Like he's saying, get down the hill. And maybe he was brandishing that gun at that time. But I don't know. It does seem a bit weird, because it does say here, let me just say that again. So he says, "Guys down the hill." They further believe he was carrying the gun from the audio, in which the investigators believe is the sound of the gun being cycled and one of the victims mentioning a gun. So the only thing I can think of is he brandished a gun. He said, "Guys down the hill." But they say gun being cycled. In my mind, I'm like, did he cock the gun at that time? Because if you cock the gun and you've already, well, see, that's the thing. You can't really, well, you can, can't you? Can't you expel a bullet by cocking the gun? Isn't that how you do it too? Can't you cock the gun? And so he cocked the gun, right? And maybe a bullet popped out. during that time. Maybe it was already cocked. I don't know. It seems a bit weird. Or he cocked the gun once, and then maybe when he went down to do what he did, maybe to emphasize that he wasn't playing around, he cocked the gun again, and then that expelled one of the bullets. I don't know. But I'm going to continue, okay? But that's their theory. That's the investigators' theory. Real talk, that's what the investigators are theorizing right now as we speak. Let's continue here really quick. Okay, just checking on time. All right. So, okay, so investigators believe after that time, victim 1 and 2 were removed from the bridge by Richard to where their unalivings occurred. Charges were filed against Richard Allen on October 28th, 2022 for 2 counts of M. Once Richard Allen was taken into custody, he was moved to the Westville Correctional Facility, which is part of the Indiana Department of Corrections for safekeeping. He has been in said facility since November 2022. When Richard Allen entered the facility, he was placed in the segregation unit for his own protection. In the segregation unit, his cell is equipped with a video recorder, which records his activities within the cell. So he was on watch. Basically, it sounds like he's on watch. There are also logs indicating when Richard Allen leaves the cell and for what purposes. He's also being seen by medical providers and mental health specialists to evaluate his physical condition and monitor his mental health. Richard Allen also has the ability to use a tablet in his cell to send text messages, interesting, make phone calls, and even listen to music. So, kind of like Brian Koberger. You got that hookup too, from what we understand. Upon his arrival to the facility, he was placed on watch, on S watch, okay, because of certain statements he made about doing very bad things to himself. Throughout his stay, his mental health improved to the point that he was taken off of this watch. He was also participating in recreation time and beginning to exercise. So he was starting to feel good, get back to normal, I guess. His day-to-day demeanor was that he was quiet, read a lot of books, did crossword puzzles, and exercised daily. On April 3rd, you've been in there for a minute. April 3rd, Richard Allen made a phone call to his wife. This part is important. He made a phone call to his wife, Kathy Allen. In that phone call, Richard Allen admits several times that he took the life of Abby and Libby. Investigators had the phone call transcribed, and the transcription confirms that Richard M. Allen admits that he committed the unalivings of Abigail Williams and Liberty German. He admits several times within the phone call that he committed those offenses as charged. His wife, Kathy Allen, ends the phone call abruptly. She just hangs up. Now, you got to remember this, guys, and this is the part where it gets really kind of juicy for some of y'all. I mean, to me, this is juicy. Because aside from him just admitting it to people, inmates, if he even has a chance to really talk with inmates and whatnot, the fact that every phone call that he makes is being recorded, and everyone knows that. Everyone knows that. You make a phone call outside of, if you're making a phone call out to the general public, all that stuff is being monitored and recorded. So as he's on there, he's fully admitting, saying it several times that he did his thing. He did what everyone's alleging him of doing. And what does his wife do? Hangs up on him. Click. Either because she might know, or she just doesn't want to get him in more trouble. That could be it too. But still, no matter what, that is crazy that he's on the phone and he's like, I did it, babe. I did it. I did the thing. I did the thing. That could very well be what the situation is here too. Let me continue. But she hung up abruptly, okay? Soon after, attorneys for Richard Allen filed an emergency motion to modify safekeeping order. So after that, in that motion, the defense states that Richard Allen's mental state has declined because Westville's correctional facility was unfit and that he should be moved. Defense also makes allegations that his mental health has declined to the point where Richard Allen has been deprived of his constitutional right to assist in his defense of this case. They're basically trying to say that as soon as he squawked, as soon as he said out loud, I did it, baby, they said, well, wait a second. Nope, he's not well. No. He's being mistreated. This is not right. That prison has cracked him. That prison broke him. Now, I know we talked about this, and I do believe that if he is, or if he was, or still is, being mistreated behind bars, he is still a human being. He still has his rights. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a fan of this guy. You know, if he did what he did, if he did what he is saying, if he did what he says he did, okay, I'm not a fan of the dude. But at the same time, he still needs to be alive and be cognizant and be sane at this trial. If they say, oh, he's mentally unsound, blah, 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 they can use different things. And next thing you know, the families can't get the justice that they're trying to get. So I'm all for him being behind bars if he really is the one who did it, okay? Admission of doing it is a lot, though. Unless they broke him so badly behind bars. And we already talked about this at great lengths. In fact, like I've talked to you guys before, you know, I'll just show this to you guys again. Okay. Man on the left was eating good in the neighborhood. Okay. He was doing just fine. Okay. There was not a meal that he did not miss. All right. And I don't mean it in a bad way. I'm just saying he was healthy. And then you look at him now. Now, this could also be one, as they said in the paperwork, that he started reading books, that he started to work out. He might be on a new fitness tip and wanted to lose some lbs. And then they use this opportunity to go, oh, look, he's lost his mind. He's lost his marbles, and then take a photo. That could also be it too. Defense could be like, hey, we got to use this. Just, let's just make you look disheveled for a second. I mean, I'm just being real. They could do that too. Okay. And let's not forget, Aries is, Moniz. Where is it? Right here. Jail food ain't great. Okay. It's not like he's eating McDonald's and Five Guys burgers every single day. And if you're working out and you're just reading books and working out, you're going to lose some lbs, y'all. Okay. What are lbs? Pounds. Okay. You're going to lose some lbs. So, that kind of goes, that question kind of pops up in your head. Like I said, this is what he looked like when he was incarcerated, when he was first arrested, when he first was booked. This is his mugshot. And now he looks completely different. So, I mean, it's just interesting that as soon as he says what he says on the phone, they're going, wait, he's unfit. And we have to play both sides of the fence here. Is it just a ploy because he said what he said and the defense still wants to fight this out? Or is he really losing his marbles? And I'll tell you this, if there's guilt, because you got to remember this too, before I continue, you got to put this into consideration too. Because I know Karen just said this too. And I understand, like, I care about people's rights. And if he is being tortured in jail, that's not right. Okay, I've talked about many inmates that have been treated poorly, that have done everything from just small crimes to very big crimes. Doesn't matter. Okay, they still have rights. And if they're in jail, found guilty of doing what they did, then they need to live out their days. But not because they don't get 3 square meals, not because they're not laying in a proper, that they're not being treated properly. Okay, we've heard the bed bug story. We've heard so many different things, and I get it. But at the same time, man, they have rights too. They do. But I keep thinking that his mental state has everything to do with his guilt. That's it. That's what I literally think. I think he's mentally breaking because of his own. The guilt is rotting from the inside out. That's what I think. And the fact that he is now taking in what he has done, fully embracing, fully coming to terms to all the bad that he has done, I think that's what's the reason why he is being the way he is right now. The weight loss and all that. Because of his mind is not right anymore because of the guilt. I don't think it has anything to do with the facility in which he is incarcerated in. That's just what I think. That's just what I think. And him admitting guilt to his wife, I just think it's interesting that right after, I mean, at least in this narrative, okay, as far as these documents, it's just a very strong statement to make. And then immediately they're going, his mental state's wrong because he's being mistreated at this correctional facility. I don't know. I don't know about all that. I don't know, you know, but I'd like to see more. But let's continue. All right. So defense also makes allegations that his mental health has declined to the point where Richard has been deprived of his constitutional right to assist in his defense of this case. So they're basically saying he's lost his mind. Further, defense alleges that his mental capacity has declined because of his incarceration at this correctional facility. Defense has also challenged that his treatment is unconstitutional. Soon after, investigators were made aware by the warden of Westville Correctional Facility that Richard began to act strangely. Richard Allen was wetting down paperwork he was wetting down paperwork he had gotten from his attorneys and eating it. He was refusing to eat and refusing to sleep. He would go days on end refusing to sleep. He further broke the tablet that he used for text messages and phone calls. He went from making up to 2 phone calls a day as of April 3rd to not making any phone calls at all. To date, Richard Allen still has not made a phone call since April 3rd. On April 14th, Richard Allen was evaluated by 2 psychiatrists and 1 psychologist to discuss his turn in behavior and whether or not there was a need for involuntary medication. The panel would also discuss moving Richard Allen to a different facility that has a psychiatric unit. From that meeting, it was determined that Richard Allen did not need involuntary medication and that he did not need to be moved to another facility. Since that meeting, Richard Allen has began to eat again and has begun to sleep. His behavior has begun to return to what was prior to making the admission on April 3rd, 2023. Investigators believe the information that Westville Correctional Facility has gathered since Richard Allen was placed in that facility is important to the investigation. Investigators believe that there is a video, or that there is video evidence that will include his admissions plus his behavior prior to the admission and directly after. Investigators also believe logs kept of his daily routines are important to determine when he was in his cell and when he was removed and the reasons he was removed. Further, any records of physical exams or medical exams will be important to determine the state of his mental and physical health. This information is needed to refute the allegations made in defense's emergency motion to modify safekeeping order. The evidence is also necessary to refute the allegations of diminished mental capacity and or other possible defenses. It may also be important as the state introduces additional evidence gathered, including admissions made by Richard Allen himself. Investigators believe all the information is important and the continued investigation for the M of Abigail Williams and Liberty German. Now, what's very interesting is that you hear all of this information, all of this, okay? And especially the ending is a huge, huge piece of information, okay? All of these last 2 pages, not only just the part of him describing his clothing, the what he was wearing that day, where when he first was interviewed, he said a completely different narrative to what he said in October. The gun, the bullet that matches the bullet that matches the gun that he had, all those things as well. All of it leads to him, like all of it shows that prosecution has a very, very, very strong argument built up against Richard Allen. And it doesn't help his case or the defense's case if he's on the phone admitting guilt to his wife and admitting guilt several times on a phone call. Now they're even saying that there is video of him confessing. They actually caught him on video saying that he did it as well. Listen, this has nothing to do with mental health. This has something to do with, and again, it's all alleged. He's innocent until proven guilty. We got to remember that. But at the same time, when we look at this, you tell me where it's leaning towards. Now, was he the only one? Maybe. Maybe not. But I will tell you this. What prosecution has against him? This could very well be a wrap, son. This could very well be a wrap. Anyway, guys, that is the show. I appreciate all y'all for being here. I really do appreciate it. I just think it's very interesting the how he admits guilt and then suddenly it's, oh, he's lost his mind. I don't know about all that. Especially when you have 2 psychologists and a psychiatrist, or 2 psychiatrists and a psychologist sitting there and evaluating him and saying, no, he's fine. He's totally fine. It makes you beg to differ about those claims. But then again, if they're trying to hide something, because, people out here are doing bad things too. Let's keep it real. Trying to make people look bad. You just never know. I say we take this with a grain of salt. We take this information, we consume it, and we see what happens whenever this bad boy sees the inside of a courtroom. But I do appreciate you guys coming on and chopping it up with me. Please don't forget to hit that like button down below. Hit it. Hit that like button down below. That would really mean a lot. If you haven't done it yet, hit that subscribe button. All right. And I'll be back on in about 45 minutes. I'll be sitting down and chopping it up in a quick show with Perez Hilton. All right. The notorious Perez Hilton. We got some things to talk about, so be sure to tune in. I'll be seeing you guys very, very soon. I appreciate all y'all for being here. But again, I'm back on in about 45 minutes. So I'll see you guys very, very soon. All right? Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. See y'all soon. 45 minutes. This is the Pascal Show. Bye.